Oftentimes, we're identified by the families that we come from. For example, you could hear, you know Rose now, she lives down the street. She's of the John family. And then you say, you know the young man that just joined the army, Peter. His father is Yusuf, who used to be the headmaster in the local primary school. That is how we're often identified in our society, especially in Nigeria. Welcome, it's Weekend Deal. Are you still in bed? Are you preparing breakfast for the family? Because another day has dawned, and of course activities are building up. Perhaps you plan to go out but want to set the breakfast table first. That's what families do. And you've let us into your home. Perhaps you could say we're part of your extended family. Thank you for doing that every Saturday and Sunday. It's a Weekend Deal, your on-time deal, your effervescent deal. My name is Thelma Obazi, and because it's impacting society, today our focus is on the family, nuclear and extended. Welcome. It's time to tie the knot. Your fiancé has proposed to you, and you're taking him to meet your family. He's of the Odeleye family, and your parents get to meet him. You're seated, some refreshments have been served, and they ask, which Odeleye is that one? Because there are many. So who are you? From which family do you come from? Is it the one that lives in Gombe? Or is it the former Inspector General's son? Or is your father the son, the senior advocate of Nigeria? Irrespective of how successful you become, you need to reference a family, either nuclear or extended. Please stay with us as Ijoma Ona examines this gist with a child psychologist and a family coach. Whose child are you?
The family is the first place of identification in every civil society. Individuals are known and sometimes judged by their family roots. But as the global village continues to shrink into a global unit, people's tradition and cultural values continue to diminish into a one-world value standard dominated by Western influence. Today, we could see significant effect of this on our traditional family values and morals.
Before, culture had been within a particular unit of families where they try to maintain it. But because of the connectivity of the global world, it has now burdened to a large extent where it changed the nuclear family and the value systems.
You remember those days, if for instance you are leaving the village and you are coming to city, one of the things your parents will always tell you is, remember the son of who you are. Always remember, the name of the family is valuable. That reputation, at that point in time, a good name is better for them than silver and gold. But now, I think the focus is more on just go into the city, ensure you become successful. Whatever means, just become successful. So that message become a conditioning or a programming in their mind that makes them to now begin to look for ways to become successful.
Now, how do we find the balance between being a part of this global community and maintaining our moral standards and family values?
That is a worrisome. But the only way we can maintain it is now to have an institutions who will be able to deeply bring out our certain value in us. That when those things are continued to propagating it becomes part and parcel of us.
Parents interact mostly with the children. They live with them for a period of time before they finally leave the house, So they look at you, learn a lot from you, listen to you, respect you. So it's an opportunity to mold the right behavior, the right character into them. So you have that valuable opportunity to be able to do that. One of the things that we encourage for either parent or grandparent is what we call value formation time. There are certain times you have set aside for your children that you teach them certain values consistently over a period of time.
Again, how important is drawing a clear understanding of what constitutes a nuclear and extended family structure, the important roles they play in parenting, social integration, and moral education of today's youth. But then again, what is the influence of modernization on the extended family system? What impact have government policies played on family culture and national development?
Culture, we begin to lose some valuable culture that we are supposed to implement as individuals, as a family. So for instance, if I don't engage maybe with grandparents, I don't get touch base with the root where I come from, I begin to lose touch of certain things about my culture. You understand? I don't even understand what it means. I don't understand the history. I don't know certain values that I'm supposed to cultivate because we don't interact. It's just within the circle in which I find myself in. So it begins to have implication. And as also, if I don't understand the culture, how do we also talk about development? You understand? Because most times, what helps every society to develop is the fact that they're able to understand their context, come up with ideas, innovative solutions that are appropriate for the context. But if I don't understand it because we don't interact, it has also impact on our culture.
Experts say the role of traditional institutions, religious organizations, schools, public institutions, and peer groups in character formation of individuals and maintenance of morals in the society are also very important.
When you are in the position where you are being respected, there's an opportunity to transform people's life because they listen to you. They want to do whatever you say. That's why traditional leaders or leaders can tell the people, go ahead and kill, and they go. You understand? Because they value and respect you. So see that as an opportunity to transform. See that as an opportunity to make, because you are in a position to transform them. Once they are transformed, they transform the society.
I've seen some cases where a man trying to spark his children, they tell the man to sit down there. Why do you do that? Because of human rights and freedom. So that's generated to the large extent where you see a boy, he wants to look like a woman. You see a woman, he wants to look like a man.
And so, on Weekend Deal this week, our focus is on nuclear and extended family system.
How do we strike a balance between embracing modernity and sophistication and our values that our ancestors, our grandparents handed over to us? How do we marry the two and still celebrate our rich and vibrant culture? We must do that. There must be a meeting point. Let's meet, greet, and welcome Mrs. Rifkatu Chidawa. She's a teacher, administrator, a mother, a grandmother, and of course a wife.
Certainly.
It's great to have you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you so much, Thelma. Good
This
to
is our
be here
matter.
again.
This
Yes,
is our matter.
it's our matter, the woman's matter.
We know the women had a very integral role to play.
Without the woman, there is no family.
Indeed. And in the past weeks, we've been celebrating our cultures.
Right.
We went to our cuisine, then our tradition. Without families, extended or nuclear, all these things won't be celebrated.
Certainly.
What would we have to remember our cultures by if families don't portray the positives of the vibrance of our nation and our society?
And
Let's jump right in.
And Thelma, the issue of nuclear family, keeps the children away from their culture, and sometimes even from the values and the norms, because it's not everything that the parents will be able to teach the child. There are so many things the child will learn outside. Today with the nuclear family, it's beautiful when you analyze all that happens when you allow your child to go out. Your fear is that the child will go and learn bad things, but whether you like it or not, the child will still go to school and mix up with children. If you are able in the house to bring up the child very close to you, it will be difficult for any child to infect your child. But in most cases, there are so many things the child learns outside. When the child visits your siblings, when the child visits your parents. You know, sometimes with the nuclear family, it's always so difficult for this, bond bringing you together. You know, in those beautiful days when children, the extended family were living together, the children of my brother, my uncle would come together, stay around the big plate with the food and everybody.
We saw the benefits. But let's go back to when you even tied the knots. Perhaps in the 60s, 70s, even 80s. I know the norm there was for either the bride or the groom. Anyhow, the new couple would have attachments from both sides. Did you have that experience? Did you raise any of your siblings? Did your husband do same? And what was the impact on your children?
You see, when you bring your own siblings' children with you, especially when you are better placed than them,
in society,
you bring them up, you educate them. And do you know that sometimes when you do that, those children that you educated outside, that you brought up, that you gave them all that they needed at that material time, are the same children that will even have more feelings for you than your own biological children. Sometimes your own children, maybe because of the petting or patting or love, you think you are bestowing on them, they will go out and then they will forget about you. But the children of your own siblings that you brought up, sometimes will always think about it because they don't forget that you really dealt.
You went out of your way.
Went out of your way to bring them up, to give them that which has made them to be what they are. It's them that even when you are old, they will be the people that will sacrifice their time and be with you. So the extended family, it's just a family that, a bigger umbrella will always occupy so many people. With the smaller umbrella, whether you like it or not, sometimes rain will still fall in.
Indeed.
But when you have that bigger umbrella, you will be covered in a way.
At different points, something will be shielding the family.
Certainly,
but let's look at, there's a middle, but let's just jump. Let's fast forward to where we are today. Are we seeing a decimation of the extended family? And how is it impacting society? Some say that societal ills that are evidenced today in Nigeria in terms of lack of moral values, in some cases insecurity, unruly behavior as a result of the breakdown of the extended family. What is your take?
You see, sometimes, do you know that today some parents don't allow their children go to their villages? They're so much afraid. We have allowed fear to take over all those beautiful things we used to enjoy. The fear of somebody being wicked to you. Oh, if my children get to the village, somebody will, harm them. If we travel to the village, somebody will do this. And you discover that today people live in prisons called houses where they build walls to protect them. You see, it's not their fault. It's the society we find ourselves today. Because insecurity is just, sometimes, now let's be very realistic. Sometimes in your village, with this bandit that is even all over the place, sometimes somebody in your family will leak the information. And then before you know, you are being touched in a way.
In a negative way. Sometimes, you're even going far out. Right. Sometimes the bandits are within the family. We have issues where there are negative practices from the extended family. We know that it doesn't happen all the time, but every now and again it does happen. But perhaps we can go to Kaduna. Kaduna is going to tell us about the influx or the outflow when nuclear blends or outflows into the extended family, and perhaps give us a bit more detail of what's happening over there, because we do know that the society is a reflection of the families living in that society.
Certainly.
Kaduna, please share what you find.
The family is the smallest unit of the society. It can also be said to be the reflection of the society's culture, norms and values. In the northern part of Nigeria, it was normal for families to practice the extended family system, where parents, grandparents and other relatives lived in peace. this is no longer the case.
You see, it bound around our socio-economic values, our political system, even our political system emanates from our extended family system. Because leadership is being transcended from our family into community leadership, into village family, and even into larger society. But gradually, because of the perversion of Western culture and values, and which has to do with our colonial experiences. Because when you are conquered, your history is written by the victor. Those who have conquered us, they have written our culture and our history, and therefore they are able to influence and dictate some of our culture and values. Therefore, we want to look like Oyinbo people. Therefore, we now petition our own values, petition our own culture and norms and everything.
We've also witnessed a situation whereby economic circumstances have forced a number of our people to abandon certain values or certain ways of lives, simply because it's quite difficult nowadays to make ends meet or even take care of or cater for the large paraphernalias that are associated with some of the cultural norms and ways we live.
Certain factors have been identified as reasons why the extended family system have almost been phased off, especially in the urban areas.
Some amongst the reasons we have been able to identify have more to do with the transportation or the movement or the change in terms of the values of our people. Education has played a very important role in this transformation. Intercultural crisscross interactions have also contributed immensely in this direction.
Indeed, the phasing off of the extended family system has greatly affected our ways of life.
This has actually affected the level of insecurity which we are in, the level of socio-economic problem. We always lamented that there is poverty, there is everything. Why? Because we abandon the extended family system, where we come together, discuss, articulate, look at issues within the context of the family. How can you, each and every family has their own guilds. If you look at the structure of our own ancient cities, largely are being structured within the context of family occupations. This is how we are able to knit the entire family together. But nowadays, we are all individuals within that presumption that we are all educated elites.
Our values and orientations have changed nowadays. We are no longer the same people we were known to be 30, 40 years or 50 years ago.
After a thorough search of the Doka district in the heart of Kaduna metropolis, we finally came across a family practicing the extended family system. Hajja Hafsatu Abdul Karim, popularly known as Baba Kutama, is the oldest member of the family, and she shares her experience with us.
In the past, the bond of kinship was stronger, but today, this is not the case. In the olden days, if a member of a family is well-to-do, the whole family benefits from the person, because when such a person decides to better the lives of his parents, he extends the goodwill to his aunties and uncles. That is what we grew up seeing our parents and grandparents practicing.
Genuine love and the bond of kinship has the power to overcome all vices associated with the extended family system. We all just have to let these key three ingredients lead the way in our everyday interactions with our family members.
There's a wake-up call. That's such a blessing. A great-grandparent, you know, she's living with her family. So there are grandparents in that house, there are parents in that house, there are great-grandchildren in their family, all living together. An unshakable, unbreakable bond indeed. When we went to Kaduna a few minutes ago, the district head of Doka brought up some information. He's talking about the impact the economy has on the extended family, while the director of Arewa House was talking about modernity and colonization having a negative impact on us. Tell us. What is your feeling and your take?
Yeah, you see negative negative impact on us because the bond that, you know, brought us together, that bind us together in those days, you know, has been broken in a way. In those days, when you lived together, you know, there was joy. You were freer, you know, going, you know, just like we were talking about the norms and the values. During festivals, you could see those things, you know, freely. You go there on your own, or sometimes when your parents don't, you sneak out. You know, there was this time during the moonlight place in those days. Some strict parents will not allow their children to go because it was late in the night. But some will sneak and go and see all this, you know. And, you know, it taught you a lot of things. But today you can't dare do that.
So we say at that time, even the community or the village was training the child.
Right. The community.
The child knew they would be safe.
The child was everybody's child. Indeed. You know, everybody's child. You know, you had every right to scold the child, you know, to correct the child, and to put the child right. But today, you can't dare do that. A parent will come and tell you, who told you to beat my child? I didn't send you to correct my child. You know, because of that, the child will now feel, okay, it's my mother, it's my father, I will go and report. Even in the schools today, now let me tell you something, in the schools today, you're correcting a child. Do you know that it has gone that bad, that when you punish a child in the school for wrongdoing, the parents will come to you and say, why? They told me that that teacher, you know, punished my child. I want to know why. You know, with this, and then, you know, between the school and the home, there is a bond. We call it PTA, where parents and teachers will come together to shape up this child, so that this child will grow up with a sense of responsibility. But, you know, for parents to come from the home, you know, insulting the school for correcting his or her child, you know, it's so bad because it makes the child just go wayward. Where are our values?
But good a thing that we have the platform of the Parent Teachers Association to handle that in most cases. Right. Let's go to what the district head of Duke also mentioned. He says the economy is impacting the bond of the extended family system. How vital an ingredient is that in society today?
It's really a fact. You know,
must we be rich to have an extended family?
You don't have to be rich. You know, a good hand of fellowship is something very important. You may not be that rich, but when you show some kindness to the extended family, the little you have, you're able to share. Sometimes, you know, like school fees is now so much high. The child, I mean, your son will now tell you, no, don't bring your sister's child to me because I cannot be able to handle. I am still battling with my own children. I have not finished paying their school fees. But you see, when you extend, you don't know the benefit of that extension. And when we say extended family, you know, the touch, the feelings you have, you know, the bringing of, together of your siblings and the, you know, working together. You are not, no man is an island anyway.
But let's look at another angle of this economic impact. Many family members who don't live in the urban centers tend to assume that once you're working in an office or in a corporate system, you are successful. It may be so, you're rising, but they tend to marry ascension in degree or level with immense financial success. And it's expected that it should reflect in your interaction with them, either what you send home or how you bring them to you. It's no longer road journeys, it's airfares. You know, how do we align that? Is it everyone in the urban system who is doing very well enough to have a large financial impact on our family that is not here? And how sometimes are we able to keep the love and the bond when we don't have the finance to cement it? Can love be showed and shared in other ways?
That is the only way out. You know, love doesn't mean when you give. Even a smile you give to people. You know, do you know that there are times when people come to your house and they see the frown on your face, they will run away. But when they see the smile, even if you don't have anything to give, you understand? So we shouldn't depend on what we have. Okay, if I tell people that I have, if I send to her now, she will think I have, and she will. And it is true. When you give, they will always think you have because God has lifted you to that level. They will continue to come and come and come. But you know, even when they do, the fear, the mere explanation. Okay, you are here today, I'm able to give you this. It doesn't mean that we have. And sometimes people fear giving because they will think you have. And the fear of they will hit you from the village when you begin to show people that you have. And because of that, people are afraid.
Not downplay.
Right, downplay the
But
whole
there are
thing.
many other ways we can show love to extended
Show
family.
love
We can
through-
invite them
yes.
to spend time with us during the holidays.
To spend time, or you go to them. When you go to them, you try from time to time, go to, okay, these days it's only marriages and funerals that, brings us together. Sometimes maybe end of year again. But you see, when you visit, you rotate your visits. You bring your children, like my family now. My mother is still there. So every 1st January, we bring all our children, all of us, so that this old woman will see them, and then we interact, we exchange pleasantries, and from time to time at home. So from time to time you do that, and from time to time you allow your own children interact with your sisters, your siblings, children, for the sake of tomorrow. You may not be here tomorrow.
Indeed.
And when you don't establish this love
between the grandchildren,
your children will suffer, because no man is an island.
We're limiting the extended family system. But let's also look at what the director from Arewa House said. He said colonization is also impacting us, that we are borrowing cultures and systems from the British because they colonized us, and that's having an impact on our extended family system. How true is that?
Oh yes, that is what has brought us to this level, because we were colonized by them.
How so?
And because they lived that life, and so it is extending to us. They themselves lived, my children, my wife, my children, and that's all. And so because we are learning from them, there are so many things. Okay, they brought education to us, they brought this, they brought that, so we embrace this, we embrace that. Is it the family we will not? So you discover that the family system from their end, is extending to us, and we tend to behave like them, to look like them, that you cannot even visit me until you call me. Please, I will be visiting you tomorrow. Oh, no, don't come, because I won't be around. In those days, you just come. You don't call. You just, as soon as they see you, they welcome you. But today it's not like that.
Before we go to Ibadan, I want to examine something. When we were looking at that feature from Kaduna, we saw a visage of the Queen. We know the late Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, visited Nigeria after her coronation and spent time with Nigerians. We see today foreigners embracing our cultures. They love, when they marry into a Nigerian family, one of the big joys they celebrate is being part of a large family. Also, we just saw the coronation of King Charles III. We saw the ascension and the regard for structure, and we saw a rich play of the extended family system. So how then are we now saying that there is a negative impact on our extended family system by those who colonized us, when they celebrate the very thing that we're negating today?
And Thelma, don't forget that when we copy more than the owners of this. Sometimes we want to do it more than what they are even doing, because we want to feel and show that we have arrived, we have reached there. We want to live like the white man.
Some of us think that neglecting that shows a high level of sophistication and modernity. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. Thankfully, you are here and we're addressing it, and we're reminding them or urging them to relearn and re-examine the situation as it is at this time. Interesting. In Ibadan, the Maye of Ibadan tells us that we must go back to where we have come from and use intelligence to marry those values our founding fathers entrenched to what we are doing today, or else the future will paint a picture for us that many of us and our children may not find too funny. Ibadan, tell us from this point, what else?
Just like any African setting, the family structure are often extended rather than nuclear. This is because average family setting is interwoven, thereby creating strong bond between extended families like grandparents, uncles, aunties, cousins, or in-laws.
The extended family is not just biological, primordial, but also social, in inculcating societal values, discipline, morals, and what have you. So we can't we cannot, and we should not detach ourselves from that foundation. It is the human beings themselves who we have to retrace their steps. So, first of all, come near home. Your relations, on your father's side, on your mother's side, your in-laws, former classmates. Go back. Let the world go back to the good old days when neighbors cared for each other.
What are the responsibilities of people that make up the extended family?
In the olden days, we enjoy community lives. Cousins, uncles, they come together, they build houses, they share things in common, they share their bonds, they do their things in common, they have their culture, they have their religious belief. Take for instance, in our family here, we believe in Ogun worshiping. We set aside a day for the worshiping of this Ogun. We call it Ogun Day, Alago Day. Our fathers, they will go hunting. They will come back with their games, antelopes, grass cutters, and they will cook. Everybody will eat. So that is the joy of living together harmoniously.
5 children of a family, of a brother, another 3 children of another brother, 2 children of another brother, all of them living under the same roof. We are talking of 3 or 4 wives now, and we are talking of about 12 or 15 children. All the 12 or 15 children can eat in any of the mother's womb. They see themselves as children of same mother, same father. But now, we don't have such thing again.
As the world is fast becoming a global village and Nigerians embracing Western cultures, which often leads to friction in traditional African extended family.
The extended family house is very peaceful and fun, but not comparable to when we were young. In our own era, you can hardly differentiate whose child belongs to who, because we do things in unison and with open heart.
In
the extended family house, we used to be many in the compound, both young and old. And when anyone has a function, we all go there to marry.
A gradual integration of love, honesty, and truth will no doubt make the family system and its value far better appreciated and more conducive to living, thereby promoting high moral value in our homes, societies, and nation at large.
We love living together as an extended family.
Let me introduce our guest before I take a few messages. Mrs. Rachel Olaide Adekunle is the founder and executive director of Women of Dignity and Girls of Honor Empowerment Initiative. I like that. Women of Dignity and Girls of Honor, because we do understand the integral role that women play in homes and by association in society. But we'll come and examine that, Ma and Mr. Olakunle. Let us take a few messages. Andy Boala from Maiduguri in Borno State says, the problem we have today in our society is where you see parents going to schools to tackle teachers for correcting their children, which by association is helping them to raise responsible children. He said in way past, in the olden days, even the village heads looked to the headmasters to ensure discipline and settle disputes in the community. Where are those traditions today? They made a beautiful impact. That is how we have responsible adults in society today. So why won't the modern day parents allow the teachers to do their job, especially if it's in the best interest of their children? Thank you, NTA, for such a beautiful program. Andy Boala Maiduguri in Borno State, thank you, thank you. It's our Nigeria. We're doing it together. Uche Leno from Okoba says, the topic today is very interesting. He says many wives do not allow their spouse to bring in relatives to live with them, even when he is well-to-do. Nigerian women must embrace culture. It's not just enough to be fashionable, to dress our culture. They must live our culture. There's more, but let us tackle this too. Madam Rifkatu, tell us. Someone says, you spoke about teachers, so it's best to take it from your angle. We do know that there have been a negative impact in some areas where teachers overwielded that broom or stick of discipline, and it caused a ruckus because there were very negative consequences, to the extent where students fell ill, students passed on.
Right.
And perhaps those parents or guardians are acting based on what they have seen evidenced in society in some parts of Nigeria. But tell us more.
Talma, you see, there is no school without rules and regulations. And today, we have those different types of punishments that is allowed to, give to the children.
But not
school.
corporal.
No, corporal punishment is out of it.
Has been removed.
It's out of it. And that is why every head of school will always frown at any teacher who will want, because sometimes there could be reasons beyond just the class activities that the teacher is, using to deal with it. And no parent will want to see your own child coming home with a swollen eye or swollen cheek because a teacher, beat you to that level. And that is why no administrator of a school will sit down for his or her hands to see children being dealt with like an administrator is always there. The head of school is always expected to embrace everybody. Your teachers are your own. The children, no matter who they are, no matter where they're coming from, are your own. So when you show that, as a leader, leadership by example, the teachers will now, when any report is brought to you, you weigh it. And on no account should any teacher, take laws into his or her hands and begin to deal ruthlessly with any child.
So the administrator must be able to strike a balance. Sure. And of course, we have the PTA there as well. And I know in times past, the head of the PTA was able to have meetings, even when there's not a full PTA meeting.
Right.
He will have meetings with the school principal or proprietor or proprietress, as well as the parents
and
the
we have
teacher.
PTA there. The parents are free to report whatever to the head of the PTA, to the chairman, and then the chairman now will bring all the reports to the head of school, and you don't wait until PTA day. What if you wait until PTA day and the child is suffering? You wait that day that teacher, dealt
and
with my child.
And then people have even forgotten. Okay, interesting. So it can be handled, and it is being handled.
Sure,
so don't go extreme, but we should not spare the rod.
Nobody is expected.
There must be rules and regulations.
Nobody has any right to deal with any child anyhow.
Okay, interesting. We're learning together. Nigeria is our own. It's our responsibility to build it and raise responsive.
And all hands must be on deck.
And responsible adults. Ms. Adekunle, how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
You are a mother. You are a wife.
Exactly.
You are an in-law. You are a daughter. You are a neighbor.
Exactly.
So we're looking at you were in a nuclear family. Today you are in an extended family. By reason of your marriage, you embraced a whole new group of people, so you have personal and professional experience. And of course, you've also shared with us the importance of women in our society today. Tell us about what the thoughts of the modern day woman and girls are. Are they looking forward to marrying into the warm embrace of the extended family system? What are their thoughts?
All right. The thought of the modern days women and girls is really, really different from the olden days. And what do I mean? Women no longer embrace families into their house. In fact, they don't want it. So it's something they are not even looking for at all. So it has really affected bonding a lot. That.
But tell us why? Why are they reluctant to embrace in-laws and the extended family system?
Okay, let me just mention some few things that tends towards embracing this nuclear family so much. Most families believe in your nuclear family, you have bonding with your children, you have your personal space, you can control yourself, you're in charge of everything you do by yourself. And with all of this, they are like, oh, we don't want any interference, we don't want anybody to come and poke nose into the affairs of the family. And with this, in fact, they are standing by the gate to resist people from entering their family. So that's what happened.
Mama Rifka too, a grandmother. So of course, you have been an in-law, you are a daughter, you embraced in-laws. Today you are in-laws to your children's spouses, you are a grandmother, and you have grandparents on the other side as well. Do you hear the concern of the modern day woman and girl, women of dignity and honor? And they're looking after their best interests. The woman talking about my space, the one for my children. And perhaps what the district head of Doka said also can be brought to the fore here. He said they don't want to, the economy is impacting us in negative ways. Maybe they are saying, this is my salary, this is my husband's salary. We know how we are managing it. By the time we now open the door for mama, nephew, and they will expect us to do the same thing we do for our children, for them as well. Mama, share please. Let us progress together.
Well, you see, the modern day woman is really, interested in making sure that she doesn't lack anything, and her children don't also. She's thinking about the school fees of the children. She's thinking about the way bill on the husband. And she's now thinking about protecting her family so that nothing goes out. But you see, there is a way. I was watching something in this media or whatever, when an old woman went to greet her son, and now complaining that your father is sick at home and I want some money. He looked at his wife, and she saw the way she was, and then he was afraid. He now went and brought some fruit and put money inside the fruit. I said, Mama, take this fruit, go home. I will come and see you. And then he wrote a note that, please, anytime you come here seeking for money, don't say I'm borrowing money. I am your son. I cannot pay you back what you did to me. But the wife was there looking. You could see and the grandchild was there watching. The grandchild now went and packed his savings, little savings. I said, Grandma, please take this. I hope it will help, do something for Grandpa. You can imagine. You can see the feelings of that child, towards his own grandparents. Wow, and the wife was really now ready to protect what gates, like blocking.
She has the gate fence.
You see?
She has the gate fence, and that's how women of dignity and girls of honor, you must listen. We must be able to strike a balance.
Exactly.
We're striking a balance. The conversation continues. Your messages will be read, but we'll go on a break for now. Don't go away. In Weekend. In the past few weeks, we've been celebrating and highlighting Nigeria's rich and vibrant cultures, our cuisine, our traditional norms, our music, our entertainment, and by association, our people, the Nigerian, and that's us. If we did not have our rich culture to hold on to and to highlight who we have become today, then who would we be? That's why we think it's important and critical to talk about our family. Because when the family unit is happy, whether nuclear extended, Nigeria will continue on the path to greatness and continuous progress. Before the break, I've been talking with women. They say we have an integral role to play in the family and by association in society. Mrs. Rifka Chidawa is a teacher, administrator, wife, mother, grandmother. Her mother is even still alive. And we have Mrs. Rachel Olaide Adekunle. She's the founder and Secretary Director of Women of Dignity and Girls of Honor Empowerment Initiative. She says modern day women, wives, girls, they look with scorn and derision on the extended family system. They fence their gates. Mama here says, this system is important and critical for bonding and for longevity in families and by association, society, that it builds a great and vibrant nation. Mama, you were sharing one example with us of what a young boy was building and writing for his future plans.
You cannot believe whatever we teach the children today will, you know, imbibe in them. They will grow with it. A boy was drawing, you know, drawing houses and beautiful, you know, he had a concept in his mind. And so when the father now saw the way he was, don't forget, meanwhile, the grandfather came to visit with them. And he was very sick. There was a small house they kept for him. So, not knowing that this boy, young boy, was nursing something within him. He now sat down one day, I was drawing, scribbling the houses. So the father now asked, what, you are, you know, drawing a house? Say, yes. Daddy, this is where I will stay with my wife, like you are staying with your wife.
Really?
And this is where I will put you. Because you will be, this is where you put your father, my grandfather.
Really?
So, and the man now stood and looked at this child. You know, how can this young boy be thinking this way? Because he, just like I told you, the other boy who ran in to get some little money to give the grandmother. Whatever we teach the children today will, reflect back to
in the future,
us, whether we like it or not.
And then we may not like it.
Oh, sure. So whatever you don't want anybody to do to you, don't do to another person.
Interesting.
Look after this, your parents of yours, in the presence of your children. Let them see the value, you know, of bonding. Let them see, because that is what will now, reflect in them. And that will make them also to
values of
value
sharing. That what I have is not my own.
Exactly.
It's for me
it's for all
and
of
my
us.
family. All
Yes, yes.
Mrs. Adekunle, the women of dignity and the girls of honor are hearing. But right here, you are the representative because you are the founder of that initiative. What challenges have they faced? How can we move them from point A to point B for Mama's line of thought? Is it even possible? Should they even move? Are they better with their own thought process? And what has brought them to that point? You were sharing some experiences with us.
All right. One of the things that contributes to women not accommodating extended families, just like what I discussed with you not quite long, is that nowadays we feel that children are much more safer in a nucleus family because they are not too much exposed to extended families like brothers, uncles coming to stay with us. And sometimes if you have a girl child, you be very, very, you need to be very, very sensitive, and you be like building a fence around that, nothing should touch my girl. And then we have seen a lot of cases. In fact, there is one we handled last year that the girl, in fact, our brother was the one molesting her in the same room. Our brother from a different father, but the same mother.
The same mother.
So in that case, we had to interfere. And this has really...
that kind of family a reconstituted family, where there are step siblings or step parents.
And this happens for a very long time, and the mother didn't even know. And when the father of the girl eventually got to know about it, it was a very, very serious case. And the boy was just thrown out of the house.
But is that a case of extended family per se? That's not really. That's poor parenting and poor guardianship.
All right, but it's also part of it.
The mother, that woman of dignity and that girl of honor were not paying attention to the things happening under their roof. But are there other incidences where there's abuse, where extended family comes to the home?
Yes.
Are there incidents like that?
Exactly. We have so many. Even on the social media, you can see.
How does it impact the family?
All right, you know when you bring them together, like bringing your nephew, your sisters, your cousins.
You want to help.
You want to help, just to render help. Then when they finally come to your house, they will begin to do some funny things with your children when you are not around. You cannot always be at home. At least you even be relaxed that, okay, this person can actually take care of my ears.
On his cousins.
But it's so unfortunate that most people take advantage of this, accommodating them, bringing them closer to you.
But does this always happen? Does this happen? In your own estimation, what would you say is the percentage of situations like this, if on a scale of 100,
all right,
what's the percentage of?
Okay, let's say about 20%.
20%.
Yes.
So you think that's why young women of dignity and girls of honor?
You know, I mentioned some other
this
points.
Is part of
yes,
it,
it's part of it. And also financial stability, and they want to have control about, just like what Madam Rifkatu said, they want to have control over their finances. They don't want other members to come and at least with the little they have. They
don't want to.
They want to manage.
They don't want to squeeze. They want to live well.
Yes.
They feel we have worked for this.
Exactly.
We have tried. This is our inheritance. Let us make my children enjoy.
Of course.
Mrs. Rifkatu, tell us. You heard what
yes, you
Mr.
see,
said.
The basic and the foundation is the fear of God. When, you know, modern days, parents don't have time. You wake up in the morning, you're looking at the time. You are just thinking of going to the office. You're leaving by 6 o'clock. You know, the time with God, the time for prayer has been relegated to the background in the family. So that these children now grow up. Maybe sometimes that nobody cares to tell them, don't do this or don't do that or whatever. The word of God says this. You see, when you bring the children together, right from the formative, stage, you are telling them and teaching them, how to get away from evil. They will grow up with it.
Mr. Adekunle, you were telling us about the challenges that women of dignity and girls of honor have faced that have made them say, I don't want to know grandma will be there, will be sending her money. Yes, I know my husband has a favorite cousin. It is true, he doesn't have a job. Let him help in the farm. We will send him what he needs when we can. This my gate is for me, my family, and I. Mama Rifkatu is saying there are more benefits with the extended family system than not. What can we now tell these women, these modern day women, that if we abandon our culture totally, our children may face some dire consequences in the future? Tell us.
Exactly. We cannot overemphasize the benefits of extended family, just like what Madam Rifkatu said. It promotes unity, bonding, cooperation, a lot of benefits attached to the extended family. And as it is, we need to keep sensitizing our women to have the mind of accommodating extended family. We know some of them can be so frustrating, so demanding, or even prognosing into the affairs of the family. But nevertheless, I just want to encourage everyone, every woman out there, to please try and accommodate extended families. See them as part of you, of your family. We grow together. And let me tell you this, the children we are raising nowadays, they learn quickly by what they see.
It's what we do.
Yes, so they see how you are treating your cousins, your parents, your siblings, and the thing is just storing into them. So when they grow up, same also will be replicated.
Thank you. Mama, your final words. Now we have mother-in-laws who come into a wedding or a marriage battle ready. Your son has married a woman he loves. You wore ashwebi for the wedding. You shared souvenir. You say you've worked. Even the bride's mother, now they're taking to begging the mother-in-law, please, this is my only girl. Treat her well. You are ready. I raised this boy. Everything he has is mine. Please speak to our mothers-in-law nationwide about how to welcome an in-law, a wife, into their family, such that she wants to stay and nurture the family she has married into.
Thank you very much, Talma. You see, the issue is that when you have an in-law, embrace her and welcome her into the family as your own child, your own daughter. And when you do so, there won't be any rift. The girl will always come to you, good morning, Mama, how are you? And, and you too, you will embrace her and bless her. And by so doing, it will blend. And, but do you know that there are times some girls, some modern women are coming battle ready. Hey, there is a song in my culture where they will say, I don't want to marry this man because his mother is still alive. I don't want to be a mate.
Please, Mama, still speak to the daughters-in-law.
Yes, that is where I'm heading to. Because you see, when you say you don't want to marry a man whose mother is still alive, your own children will say they will not marry your own child when you are still alive. So it's a give and take. So the mother-in-law should know that anybody coming into the house, you know, in our culture, we love, we embrace, we share, we accommodate, which is the most important thing. You should accommodate whoever is coming into your family. And, you know, open your hands. Don't have any fear. It is the fear of the unknown that brings everything like
acrimony and rift.
I am telling you. And when you now, you know, embrace everybody, you have an open mind, you're accepting, you know, and sharing, which is the most important thing. Things will blend and things will go. And the mother-in-law should give and that is why today we say, when you marry, it is better not to live with your parents, so that you have a little place where you will study each other, because you know there is always this rift in newly wedded people. Give them 1 to 10 years before they are able to embrace anything. But if the mothers, you know, keep them and allow them to live their lives without poking nose and into their affairs, you know, because there are some mothers that will say, your wife is always sleeping, she doesn't wake up on time, and the wife will not take that nonsense. Anyway, I saw one where the mother-in-law went to visit, and the woman went and cooked the food for her husband. She said, what is this thing? What is this thing you are cooking for my son? She entered, cook amala for her son. So bring in all this rift together. But when the two love each other, when you embrace the person that is coming in, you know, you let her know that you are my daughter. Come in, I will love you. You know, you are married to my son. The two of you are my own. Everything will move on.
Thank you so much. We must leave it here. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to talk to women and our society and Nigeria. Mrs. Rifka Tuchidawa, teacher, administrator, even our mother here. She has her own children, but she's my own mother here too. I've learned massively from the experience, for the wealth of experience she has shared with us today. Thank you, Mom, for making the time. Ms. Adekunle, please tell women of dignity and girls of honor that there is hope. That there is hope indeed. We must marry our culture with modernity and plan for our future, and by association, that of Nigeria. Thank you for coming on Weekend Deal. Please take the message. God bless us. You're watching Weekend Deal. A break beckons. We urge you to stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't go away. It's who we are that will take us to the place and the point where we want to be. We had messages and packages coming from different parts of Nigeria, but two struck a chord in us. That of Ibadan, where the Maye of Ibadan land, Oloye, says that if we don't return to old cultures and tradition and find a pleasant place to marry it with what we have today, then we'll be leaving our children in a dire period or in a dire process for the future. We must station them well now, marry both cultures, marry both practices, so that they can imbibe our great culture and inculcate same in those who are coming after them. God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.